Hi, this is John Barnes, and you're listening to Kop On.
Welcome to Kop On podcast. This is a Liverpool FC statement published 1 day ago at the time of recording this. Liverpool FC can confirm Arne Slot is to depart his role as head coach with immediate effect, and that the process to appoint a successor is underway. Having joined the club in June 2024, Arne went on to deliver our 20th league title in his first season in charge, ending the 24-25 campaign as LMA Manager of the Year, having also guided the team to the Carabao Cup final and the last 16 of the Champions League. He subsequently oversaw Champions League qualification for a second successive season in 25-26, as the Reds also reached the quarter-finals of the same competition. In a joint statement, Liverpool's ownership underlined its appreciation for the success Arne brought to the club and also the leadership displayed in his 2 years in charge. Quote, that this was a difficult decision for us to make as a club goes without saying. The contribution Arne has made to Liverpool FC in the time that he has been with us has been significant, meaningful, and most importantly to supporters and ourselves, successful. As such, our appreciation for everything he has achieved could not be greater, particularly as it was underpinned by a work ethic, a diligence, and a level of expertise which further underlined our view that he is a leader in his field. From the moment that we first encountered Arne, it was immediately clear that he is an individual who does not merely accept responsibility, he embraces it. This was evident when he agreed to take over as head coach, when he guided us to the Premier League title, and throughout the season just ended, when he faced considerable challenges and burdens. At the same time, we have collectively come to the conclusion that change is necessary in order for the club to keep moving forward. Again, it must be stressed that this is not a decision which has been reached lightly, anything but. And there are 5 or 6 paragraphs there, and blah, 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 blah. Slop's gone. Shane and Nigel are with me. Shane, your initial thoughts, please.
Well, my initial thoughts is I don't think I had heard that statement out loud, and now I'm wondering if anyone's run it through an AI detector, because that just seemed like the most formulaic pink slip sort of thing. Like, who wrote that? But anyway.
But how are your emotions?
Yes. So this is the thing. I was thinking about this getting coffee this morning. I don't feel bad. There's like an absence of emotions. Like when Klopp came out with that video in January of whatever year that he said he was going to be leaving, I was inconsolable. I like cried watching the video multiple times. Like I just was not moved emotionally in a way. In fact, I was like, okay, all right, so what's next? And so in a way, it was just, I was so ready to move on from the whole situation entirely. I'm honestly surprised that it happened in general, but now that it has happened, I don't know. I don't have besides like a little spurt of joy, I don't really have too many like overwhelming emotions tied to him. I'm happy for what he delivered, and I respect that and the contributions. But it is time for us to move in a new direction. And that might apply not only just to the head coach, the manager, but that might apply to the head of football. That might apply to a lot of roles and positions of leadership within the club.
Very interesting stuff. Nigel, what's your reaction?
Well, I absolutely agree with Shane there. I was more disappointed and saddened by Mo Salah leaving and like whatever else, but it's like a matter of time. It had to be. We were gone to a stage where we had played a season under Jurgen Klopp of our usual, like under Jurgen Klopp, our great football. He came in, Slot came in after that, and basically we got for up to about January, February, we were playing brilliant, the same kind of football and charging on and stuff like that. And then the wheels suddenly started coming off, the fitness started going. It looks like we were starting to get caught at the end of games. And this season, we couldn't last past half time. Like all these people started talking about these. Where are all these mini breaks coming from? You know, where's these holidays coming from? Why are they going off to someplace in the middle of the season 4 or 5 times a year? That can't happen. I've heard.
Now, the thing with that, though, Nigel, is that it's quite normal in professional football. It's just the fact that we were losing meant that it didn't sit right.
Yeah. I'll agree with that. It just seemed to be like I'm sure they get plenty of breaks and stuff like that, but just in the middle of kind of a time where they should be kind of knuckling down and trying to
Yes,
get fit and play their way out of it, we
Yeah.
got worse. It reminded me a lot. I'm not sure if you can remember this or not, but around the time of when Graham Souness started, kind of the end of the Souness time, and how is he going to last another week kind of job? Now, Souness is one of my favourite players playing with Liverpool, but as a manager, it was a disaster. Sold too many players. Like, he sold Ray Houghton, he sold Steve Staunton. The worst one for me, he sold Peter Beardsley to Everton for 1.1 million or something like that at the time, which was an absolute travesty. And then signed a lot of players who weren't really good enough. Now, I think going from what I've seen about Areola, and I've enjoyed watching his team, I think like no days off and get fit and get our players to start playing a bit more football again and get on the ball. What we said the other night, remember I was talking about Gravenberch the other night with that half turn. We haven't seen it this season, barely. You know what I mean? He wasn't, just the oomph wasn't there in us this season, so to speak. That'd be the best thing I can describe it. I want the oomph back.
It's a lovely answer, and we will get on to Iraola soon. I've been doing some research, but I just want to give my thoughts as well. I have to admit that I was happy. It was my first reaction. I was delighted. That was my first reaction, actually, but purely on a selfish level, because I just haven't been enjoying watching football, which is, what happened to a lot of Manchester United fans that I know under Eric Ten Hag, for example, because it's just painful to watch. It was painful to watch. Not only painful, but boring. It was an incredible combination of painful and boring. Never in my life, even under Graham Souness, had I been so distracted that I just did something else during a Liverpool match. I mean, of course, mobile phones didn't exist in 92 or 93 or 94, but I was, if they had existed, I would have been on my phone. Like this season, I was just on my phone thinking, my God, this is awful. And so just purely from a personal point of view, and I'm sure many fans would agree, that we can just start enjoying football again, because the new manager, the new direction that FSG talked about in their statement is clearly a sign of intent. Shane, we'll talk about Areola later. I just want to talk about the nature of it. What do you think of this for a conspiracy theory? Not conspiracy theory, I don't know. A theory, anyway. Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes all season have been saying, we're going to give him another shot. We're going to give him another shot. Even a couple of weeks ago, you had people like James Pearce or other journalists saying, respected journalists, saying he's staying. David Ormsby said it himself. So this was what they actually thought. But then the end of season review, Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes have both been usurped, and what's the word, when the powers that be have taken the decision out of their hands and sort of gone against their decision, and they've been the one driving this change. Do you think there's any truth in that, Shane?
I think it's quite possible you're like overriding their decision. I think it might be like the type of word you were thinking of. But
thank you.
Yes. But it is interesting, and I know you're calling it conspiracy theory. I would be all down to speculate about this, but it is interesting because they were talking in this way. All of the dialogue, all of the conversation was that Slot was going to be the man going forward. And then there were, I don't know, there was one thing that did happen is that, and I don't know if either of you have heard about this, is that there was supposed to be an incoming assistant coach from Feyenoord. They're supposed to be coming in, and usually whenever we see the head coach announcements, just like the player announcements on like the Liverpool app and on the website and everything else, as like a press release statement, and then that had been held off for whatever reason, and that had delayed, and so I know I'm throwing more conjecture out there, but I'm wondering if it had anything to do with Slot's summer transfer request list, because of the amount of money that was spent last summer and then the returns given. I just can't imagine things going well if he had been in talks, because it's a whole discussion. So, it's a business. You have to pitch these things and you have to get approval and everything else. Is that if he was asking for a dollar amount, around the same amount from last summer's spending of around the same summer, he's like, you can't be spending $1 billion and be finishing 5th place. And so, the thing is with FSG and with John Henry, they were like, we gave Klopp far less and he achieved far more. And so at some point they're like, hey, no, we're not buying anymore. We have to sell you, Slot, and go for someone who's going to make the most out of what we have. And Areola might be it. I mean, has he been confirmed? Is this just speculation from the all-knowing oracle of David Ornstein?
Well, I haven't seen Ornstein. I've only seen Paul Joyce talking about it. Paul Joyce, who put out a tweet saying, Andoni Iraola, Liverpool to begin formal talks with the manager this week. And if that's coming from Joycey, you can trust Joycey because he never tweets anything. So
very nice. So I wonder what you two think. I wonder what you two are speculating. It might be the reason. Like, what is the straw that broke the camel's back? Because it doesn't seem like the results are what did him in.
I think it is the results, and I think it is the loss of the dressing room. Mo Salah was interestingly rumored to have some kind of meeting with FSG representatives, like some kind of dinner that might have been just a thank you dinner, but I'm sure Mo Salah would be talking about exactly what was going on in that dressing room. And then not long after that supposed dinner was his statement where he questioned the future of the club. So I wouldn't surprise me at all if Mo Salah had mentioned FSG. Can I just mention one thing I didn't mention before is that although on a personal level I'm happy, I'm delighted because I think this is the right decision at the right time. It couldn't have come soon enough. Excuse me. I just want to say on a personal level about Arne Slot, though, how I feel about him as a person, him as a man. I mean, I think I'm going to title this podcast "Thank You, Arne," because I'm not going to revel in the fact that he's lost his job. It's far from that. I'm full of respect.
It would be distasteful to do otherwise. And frankly, this is a great point to bring up because there's been far too much abuse coming from the Liverpool fan base towards him and his family, to a part where it just puts shame on us, really.
We can't, I mean, it's that corner of the fan base who are like posting memes and joy and things like that because he's lost his job and personal attacks. These people are fools. Every club has their share of them, and Liverpool do, unfortunately. And if you're listening, and if you are one of these fools, then stop being a fool, please. I mean, you have that choice as a human. You can learn to not be a fool, or at least you can strive to be, as many of us do. It's happened. I don't know if I've got all that much more to say. Just Slot's title win will forever be remembered as a great thing. The great days against Crystal Palace and Tottenham last season, especially Tottenham. We won the league. The crowd was up and singing and celebrating. We didn't have that chance under COVID with Jurgen Klopp. And it was a beautiful thing to have joy, the Arne Slot song being sung all throughout the season. And then, of course, it went pear-shaped. And there's nothing really much to say about it. I do want to talk about Iraola. So now, I have used AI to help me with this, full disclosure, about his record. Yes. So you can feel free to insult me, Shane, about that.
No. I mispronounced his name. I said Areola, like the keeper. I said it like the keeper. Please give me a pronunciation for us and all the listeners going forward.
Well, you see, my Spanish isn't great, but Spanish is all about the vowel sounds. I do know in theory that the vowel sounds, and it's a phonetic language. So it's the first letter is I, so it's E. Okay, they pronounce that E, and then Raola is exactly as it says, Raola. Okay? So Iraola. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It takes time. It takes time to work the tongue.
But that's very good. I think that was very good. But then I don't know. So do get in touch, koponpodcast@gmail.com with a little voice note if you're Spanish or if you speak Spanish, or especially if you're, I believe he's Basque, but I might be wrong.
Oh, really?
Basque accent. And give me some pointers. I love learning this kind of stuff. Here's a little rundown of his managerial career. I asked AI to do a one-paragraph summary of each of his seasons as a manager. It started in 2018-19, and it starts not particularly well. He was at AEK Larnaca in Cyprus, and he began his career there, leading them to the UEFA Europa League group stage and securing the Cypriot Super Cup, which is like the Charity Shield. It doesn't count, or the Community Shield. However, a domestic dip in form, resulting in a 9-match winless run, concluded his tenure prematurely in January 2019, leaving with a record of 7 wins, 4 draws, and 5 losses in 16 league matches. Then he went to Spain. The 2019-2020 season, he was with CD Mirandés, and he guided them to an 11th place finish. And the season was defined by a historic run to the Copa del Rey semi-finals, which is incredible, with CD Mirandés, where his team eliminated along the way top flight clubs like Celta Vigo, Sevilla, and Villarreal before going out of the cup to Real Sociedad. After Mirandés, he got the job at Rayo Vallecano, and in his debut season with Rayo Vallecano, he secured promotion to La Liga via the playoffs. And then his second season with Rayo Vallecano, they consolidated their position by finishing 12th with 42 points. They were very, very good at home, and he again got to the Copa del Rey semi-finals. So he got to the semi-finals with Rayo Vallecano as well. Then his third season with Rayo Vallecano, he built upon the previous year's foundation, it says here, guiding Rayo to another 12th place finish, but with an improved points tally. And they actually secured high-profile victories against both Real Madrid and Barcelona before he chose to step down at the end of his contract, where he joined Bournemouth. And I don't know if you remember this, but he was quite famously winless in his first 9 matches with Bournemouth. But then he rallied, and they finished that season in 12th place, which was a club record. The team transitioned to an aggressive high-pressing style, highlighted by an 8-game unbeaten run in late autumn that included a 3-0 win over Manchester United at Old Trafford. Nice one. Then the next season after that was 24-25 with Bournemouth, and they continued their upward trajectory. They had 56 points and finished 9th. And then this season, of course, they finished 6th, which is very historic. So he's gone from 12th to 9th to 6th in 3 seasons at Bournemouth. He hasn't won anything. He got to a couple of Copa del Rey semi-finals with very unfancied teams. Bournemouth themselves were unfancied. But taking them to 6th, that already is really, really impressive. I'm sorry, this is a long thing to say. This is a long summary because I have been doing my research, but I looked at some key players that he developed. Now, if you remember, Dominic Solanke, of course, joined Bournemouth when they were in the Championship, so Iraola was not his manager. And then his first season back with Bournemouth in the Premier League, Solanke got 6 goals. Then Iraola joined, and Solanke ended the first season with Iraola on 19 Premier League goals back in the Premier League. Think about Junior Krupi this season. How he has gone from, well, no one's heard of this kid, to being on the verge of the French national team squad for the World Cup at age 19. He didn't make it, but he was on the verge of the French squad. And so he can develop strikers. With Semenyo, Iraola's first season, he registered 8 goals and 2 assists. That was the 23-24 season. And then Iraola turned him into an absolute beast. And let me just remind you of Semenyo's quotes about Iraola. So Antoine Semenyo on Iraola's training, Semenyo said, and I quote, "I didn't see it at the start. When Iraola came in, he had his way of playing, and it was very new to us, the way he structured the wings. We didn't really have any days off, so it's very hard for a team to go from having Wednesday or Sunday off to having no days off. We would play on the Saturday and then train on the Sunday, and the players in the starting 11 would do the first 30 to 40 minutes of the session. You're absolutely hanging. Your legs are gone. You're doing the possession and you're running around and thinking, oh dear." It was very different at the start. The results weren't going our way and the fans were saying he needs to be sacked. I think we beat Burnley at home and everything changed. Everyone slowly got used to the system and it just went up from there. End quote. I got more stuff to say about it. Nigel, I mean, I like him. What do you think?
I love that. The only thing I'd love to see him doing is going to get James Milner as the fitness coach. I love that.
Oh, good call. Good call. Great call.
Yeah, but it sounds like what we used to do under Klopp. You know, a team that just kind of runs the legs off everybody, and we did that under Klopp for years, and did it for most of the season under Arne Slot. But then the wheels started coming off as the fitness level started dropping. You know, we did it at the start of the season, and then it was fine. We got to February, and basically, if you remember in 2019, the Kop was chanting. I think it was December. I think it was January 20th. We beat Man United, and when Mo scored that the last minute to make it 2-0. I think that was January the 20th, 2020.
It was around then, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was. I think it was, and we were singing, "We're going to win the league," and then COVID happened. But basically, we had an idea, and it was the same this time. We won that league with 7 games to go. I think it was pretty well unprecedented to win the league that early. Basically, pretty much at a canter, which we did. But the wheels came off a few times. I know it wears out players, but we're going to have to he's going to have to buy a lot of players if that's going to play. If that's the way we're going to be playing with this no days off, which I don't mind in the least. We've got the basis of a good squad there, but you've got to have your basis of your There's no use in us trying to play the Jurgen Klopp system under Slot if our players aren't able to run. And basically, our players haven't been able to run this year. We've had 2 or 3 guys who have basically fallen off a cliff. I'm not going to name names, but no, we've got about 15 or 16, that have fallen off a cliff. It's just it was so tough to watch, like you said earlier on, compared to what it had been, and watching our lads struggling in games and losing games and even drawing games that we would have absolutely destroyed teams in previous years. We got 60 points this year and finished 5th. We had this discussion the other night. Our lads under Klopp, fitness I think we would have won this league, because City fell off. We fell off the side of a cliff. Man United finished 3rd and had their best season in about a decade and weren't that good. You know, this move had to happen. And I
particularly excited you about Iraola apart from the work ethic?
He gets players playing. He gets kind of unheralded players. There's a few there now. Krupke, we've mentioned. Alex Scott, Justin Kluivert, Kirkes.
Yeah, I was going to say Adrien Truffert. Shane's got a head off. Thank you, Shane. Shane's got some key rehearsals for some theatre.
Yes, I heard what he was saying beforehand. Yeah.
So good luck. I mean, sorry. Not good luck. Break a leg, Shane. Break a leg. But no, okay. Yeah, I was going to say Adrien Truffert. I mean, look at what he did this season. He joined Bournemouth and he was a good player. Don't get me wrong. He had a very good reputation here in France. And I watched Bournemouth at the beginning of the season. They were like, oh, yeah, they've done well. But by the end of the season, I'm absolutely, if I was French, I would be up in arms that he's not in the French national team for the World Cup. I cannot believe that Didier Deschamps is that focused on picking his buddies that he chose Lucas Digne over Adrien Truffert, because Iraola got him playing out of his skin. And that's the thing. When you look at Kirkes, he joined us and he has looked a shadow of the player. I mean, at times he's looked good, but he hasn't looked like the best left back in the league. Last season, he was the best left back in the league.
Well, I was at the game against Bournemouth last year when we beat them 3-0.
Wow.
And he was marking Mo.
Mm-hmm.
Just 2 years ago now, I suppose. But he was really, really good that day. And they ran. We caught them with a bit of quality a few times. We scored 3 goals that day. We scored 2 in a minute. Luis Diaz scored 2 goals in a minute because we knifed them open with 2 really incisive passes. And then there was an absolute, Nunes scored this absolute worldie of a goal. It was incredible. Left foot out on the far wing and cut in and bent it into the far corner. But Mo didn't have the greatest of games that day, and Kirkes was on him like he was all over him all the time. Senesi is another one.
Yes.
He's had a very good season. Senesi, sorry, whatever. But they've got a decent side. I like your man Evan Nielsen up front, actually.
He's one player who I actually think he's the only one I can see on Bournemouth who's actually slightly underperforming. I think he's a very, very talented player, and for some reason he should be getting, he could be getting 20 goals a season, but he isn't, and I don't know why. I'm not an expert, but he just looks to me like he's someone who hasn't quite hit his potential, but everyone else has. And let's put it into context. Of course, we know that Bournemouth lost a lot of players last season and in January. To be able to finish 6th in the Premier League, improving from 9th the season before. Let's give you a list now of the players that they lost last season. So they lost Semenyo in January, of course. Zabani last summer, Hyson last summer, Kirkes last summer, Ouattara, Jadon Anthony, Phil Billing left the club, Chris Mepham, I think he retired. There are other names such as Neto, the goalkeeper, Sinistera, Max Aarons, and there are still some other players, but he lost so many unbelievable stalwarts of the team that finished 9th and still managed to improve to 6th, historic 6th. And they're just easy on the eye. They're just lovely to watch. The thing that I've said all season about Bournemouth is that he likes to employ man-to-man marking at times in certain areas, and that allows the space for the incisive pass. And a coach like Unai Emery would be able to find the spaces against man-to-man marking. Guardiola was good at that, but we don't have to worry about him anymore. But I mean, you do expect Iraola to take over, don't you, Nigel? Now that Paul Joyce has tweeted about it, that
I think there's been too much chat about it now, but not to happen. I think since yesterday, it's just been too much. Everybody's saying it. I think people saying, is he really good enough for Liverpool? Well, it hasn't been going well enough, so we need some kind of a change. And we're not going to who else are we going to get? He's left Bournemouth. It was either go back to Spain. What was the other big job? Was it AC Milan? Was that the other big job that was touted around
for Iraola?
Yeah,
it was. Excuse me, it was. It was AC Milan, I believe. Yeah,
and it's other teams. Now, I know our people will be criticising our owners and stuff like that, and our management committee basically. But if he's a free agent, he left Bournemouth, so he's a free agent. So I think that's a plus. People, we'll have to be buying managers out of the contracts and stuff like that, but we don't have to do it in this instance. And the other thing is it's going to be an interesting coaching setup as well, because when he went to Bournemouth, I saw that he brought one coach with him and then relied on what was there from there. But I don't think that's going to happen this time. He might bring the guy Elphick, who played for Bournemouth, who was there with him at Bournemouth, who's actually a Liverpool fan. So I think he actually played for Bournemouth as well. But after that, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of a coaching setup we're going to have there. Now, like I said earlier on, I would love James Milner. I think he's absolutely ideal for coming in and being a coach on the ground with the players, looking after fitness and stuff like that, because he knows the club. I think that'd be a great appointment. There were a few others as well. I'm not. If Iraola comes in, it's going to be really interesting. I will be looking on with bated breath at his coaching choices.
It's going to be really interesting. But where are your expectations like already? I mean, obviously we've got a lot of squad planning to do, and I do want to look at the squad in a minute, but because Konate is confirmed to have gone, and also Connor Bradley. If the listeners haven't seen it, apparently the Northern Irish FA or the Irish FA news has come out that his injury is extremely serious. So let's hope not, but let's say that no one would possibly make up anything as sad as that. So let's assume that it's actually true on that basis. So on that, I want to talk about the squad, but before we actually talk about the nuts and bolts about what we need and where we need it, again, and we're going to have this conversation throughout the summer, I think, but it's a conversation I love having. But what would you want from Iraola for next season?
I'd like progression for a start. I'd like us to progress. I'd like us to get the fitness back. That's key for me, because like I said before, under Jurgen, we had a very good system, worked amazingly well. All the markers point to that same kind of fitness, levels of fitness. I remember us playing against Bournemouth, and they were at us the whole time, never stopped running. Seen them in a few other games, and they were just constant. And I that's what I want. And then whatever goes from there. That's what I want to see. I want to see effort. I want to see, that's the be all and end all. Liverpool Football Club is built on players putting in 100% on the field for the people in the stands to give them 100% behind them off the field. I
agree with that. And in terms of progression, I mean, obviously we finished on a very paltry 60 points this season. Would 61 points? Would you take that now?
No, that's not progression. That's not
progression. It's progression by 1 point.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't take that at all. No, we have to be. We're looking at least picking up another 3 places. I know it'd be a lot to ask for winning the league in his first season, but
we finished 25 points behind Arsenal. 25.
Yeah.
And the squad is in tatters because nobody's fit.
Yes,
so I think it's completely unrealistic to expect us to have a title challenge next season. For me, I'd take 61 points. I'll tell you why. Because we've got 3 wins in our last 11 matches, and they were 3 fluky wins. We are in relegation form, and I would have been happy with 41 points under Slot if we'd kept him for the entire season to ensure that we'd stay in the Premier League, because we were playing that badly.
Yeah.
So if he manages to sort of right the ship eventually by the end of the season and improve from relegation form up to 61 points, I would initially take it. And then from there, I would want at least 62 points. Because then if we're still moving in the right direction, it doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter for me how slowly it takes. If it takes a few years, of course, I want to have a title-winning, team every year. But so does everyone else. And let's be realistic. I mean, I don't know. It's just from where we are now. Because I'm going to put the squad on our screen that someone made a graphic about with 2 players in each position. If I can find it. Here you go.
Just while you're doing that,
go on.
The other thing that I want, which I haven't seen enough of, is attitude.
Yes.
I want our lads to go out there and die for the shirt the way they used to.
Absolutely.
Only 2 seasons ago. And that will get us, that attitude, and combined with the fitness, will get us at least 20 more points than last season. I'm telling you now.
100%. 100%. So 2 players for each position as it goes now. We are so light. Alisson and Mamadashvili, let's say Alisson's staying. Alisson and Mamadashvili, I'm not going to talk about. I think that's not our concern. Centre-backs. Now Konate is gone. We've got, I'm saying Gomez and Bradley have gone as well. So centre backs anyway. We've got Xhaka and Leone both coming out of massive injuries, and Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah.
That's it. We've got 3. So if you're doing 2 players for each position, you need one more centre back. Ideally, for me, I'd want 2 because Xhaka and Leone are coming back from an injury. What do you reckon? Do we need one more?
And I reckon he'll sign at least 2, maybe 3
centre backs.
Yes.
Can't have 3 centre backs. Then we'd have. Then we'd have 6 centre backs for 2 positions.
Yeah, we could have potentially over 60 games this year. So I think he needs a major overhaul on this squad. I think he might sign a goalkeeper. I do think that. I think at least 2 centre backs, maybe 3.
Well, let's go with at least, because that's what FSG are going to do.
Yeah. Okay. At least 2, maybe 3.
Okay.
All right.
So
all right, back.
Whoa. I'm gonna
Okay.
just make a note of everything here.
Okay.
Where is it? I need to find a little text box here. Okay. So we got 2 centre backs. Okay. Right backs.
So in one of them, hopefully
So we need two right backs. No,
yeah. Hopefully Joe Gomez stays fit.
No, Gomez is going. We're going on the basis that Gomez is gone.
Really? Well, if he goes, then we'll need to sign 2.
Okay, so two right backs. We've got Frimpong.
Not a fullback.
But can Iraola make him a fullback?
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll sign 1 right back. Okay. Left back, we've got Kirkes and Tsimikas. Are you happy with that? Or you want to upgrade on Tsimikas as a backup?
I want an upgrade.
You want an upgrade.
Yeah.
So 1 left back.
Could I make one more thing? I think I said it the other night before this second thing happened. That won't be our system, I don't think. I think he might play 3 centre backs.
Well, I don't think he's ever done it before.
Okay. But I think it might suit us. Okay, we'll go with 4. We'll go with this system, but I don't like 4-3-3. I think we're a man short in midfield.
Well, let's call it a 4-2-3-1 or whatever. I just want to look at the positions, players in the positions, because let's say, for example, we've got 2 holding midfielders.
Okay.
At the moment, we've got McAllister, Jones, Gravenberch, and Endo who can play that position. Possibly Szoboszlai at a push. Let's say, for example, Endo is going to leave. So that leaves us McAllister, Jones, Szoboszlai, and Gravenberch. Okay. For me, I'm selling McAllister. I'm keeping Jones.
Definitely keep Jones.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. So if we got Jones, Gravenberch, and Szoboszlai, we need 3 midfielders.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, Harvey Elliott is in this graphic. Does he have a role in Liverpool's midfield? Not really.
I like Harvey Elliott, but he doesn't have a role as a starter for me. I really like Harvey. But as a starter, no, he just hasn't got enough pace.
So we need 3 central midfielders.
Yep.
Okay. Going forward, Chiesa's gone. Frimpong, you could call him a right winger if you want, but at the moment, those are the options. Frimpong and Chiesa at right wing, unless you put Gakpo there or something like that. Or Ungamoha there, he's out of his position as well. On the left, we have Ungamoha, Gakpo, Wirtz is on the left of attack as this goes. But then we got Gakpo, Isak, Wirtz, and Gamoha. Those are our 4 attackers. So we need 2 right wingers then, and a left winger if you're going to sell Gakpo, and a striker because we don't have Ekitike anymore. So 2 right wingers, 1 left winger, and a striker, and a number 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
This is going to be fun.
So let's have a little recap then. Excuse me. 2 centre backs, 1 right back, and 1 left back in defence. 4 players. 3 central midfielders. 7 players. 2 right wingers, a left winger, and a number 9. 4 attackers. There's 11 new players. I've been saying that for months. We need 11 new players, not counting a goalkeeper. But we need them. This is the thing in this conversation. It's not like luxuries. You could argue you could get 2 central midfielders instead of 3. You could argue that if you had a right winger and a left winger, you'd take 1 away from that. Then that's 9 players. 9 players.
Let's just say best case scenario, we could possibly play over 60 games this coming season.
Okay.
So our squad is light.
Yeah.
It is light. So
and given the cost of a top midfielder being 100 million for Declan Rice and Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez,
get that Scott lad from Bournemouth.
Get Alex Scott from Bournemouth. Yeah, you can bring him with us. I mean, he'd be great. He'd be really good in this situation. And as a Channel Islander, I want a Channel Islander to play for Liverpool. That would be amazing. But you know, we all live on a planet at the end of the day, and I just want the best person. We're all humans, the best human in the entire world to fit that position, regardless of nationality. So, or Sangaré. I mean, let's say for example, we've got a 50 million budget for those minimum 9 players. That's 450 million as a layout, and we're not going to make much money.
What's your thoughts on if Salah got a call to come back?
Oh no, he's that bird has flown. I don't think he'd fit out Iraola's system anyway. I mean, he's a great player.
Yeah.
But he's already said his goodbyes. I think he's a single-minded kind of person, and he would have talked it through with his family, and I don't think he would come back, unfortunately, because I would love to see it. A season with Iraola, maybe Salah as a number 9. But yeah, it's we'll see what happens. It is going to be fun and it's intriguing, and I want to know how this coach does, because everybody speaks highly of him.
Yeah. The other thing, the other issue I had with Slot, apart from selling all the kids when he sold them, a lot of people saying today he didn't have a lot of interest in our youth academy, but he seems to have basically run roughshod through our leadership group. So that the fact that we've only got, like, Mo's gone, he had a row with Curtis Jones. Allison was training in Brazil and was apparently fit. Robbo's gone. You know what I mean? Our leadership group has taken a big hit, and it's people are going to have to stand up. There seem to be an awful lot of. It seems to be a very disjointed group. There seems to be an awful lot of. The work ethic was down. The attitude was down. It just seemed to be kind of go through the motions kind of job, and that can't happen. It just can't.
Yeah, and it's worth saying. I mean, I totally agree. But I mean, if you get some more working hard, maybe they'll all turn into leaders. You know, you get someone putting an iron rod up their butts every morning, and they'll soon turn into it'll be character building, put it that way. But if you look at fringe players, I think this is a good way of judging a manager as well. Our fringe players look very disinterested by the end of the campaign. Our first team looked very disinterested by the end of the campaign. But I want to just talk about, for example, David Brooks. He only got 1 goal and 3 assists, but he was running himself into the ground, coming off the bench or starting. And Ryan, their Brazilian 18-year-old, 5 goals and 2 assists from just 1,100 minutes. It's extremely good for an 18-year-old. And to replace Semenyo with just an 18-year-old rookie and let him get 5 goals and 2 assists before the end of the season is remarkable. Evan Nielsen ended the season with 6 goals and 1 assist. But a player I'd love to talk about is Marcus Tavernier, or Tavernier, because it's a French name. A tavern is a French word. 2,732 Premier League minutes, 7 goals and 4 assists, 11 goals and assists. And he played as an attacking player. He had a little bit of a free role. And I think he turned into a really, really useful player. He was tricky. He was playing full of confidence. And Tavernier really makes me excited about what Iraola can do with Wirtz. Have you thought about that? The future of Florian Wirtz under Iraola?
Yeah, I've been thinking about. I want to see Florian Wirtz play like he played at Leverkusen and like he plays with Germany sometimes. So we play well enough. We hold on to the ball well enough so we can release him into the spaces so he can control games. So people are having to stop him without having basically. He's had the brakes on all season. You know, he's had the way we play has put brakes on him all season, I think. And he's shown some little clips, some little signs that there's there's a Peter Beardsley type player there, and that doesn't come lightly. Beardsley was an absolute force of nature. Whoever he played with, he was a class player, and I think Wirtz has that in him as well. I think if we get him playing, he could be anything. You watch him in the World Cup, and he gets going with Germany, they could come very, very close.
Yeah, totally. Just one final word then on Arne Slot. The old question, would you invite him to your barbecue? I mean, I would. I've had nothing but respect for Arne Slot. He tried his best. He gave everything. Took us in a direction that we weren't happy with. And perhaps his stubbornness was his downfall. That was his downfall in the end, not changing the system. The weirdest thing that I thought he said all season was basically, I can't remember the direct quote, but basically that he didn't enjoy the football either. He didn't enjoy the style either. I found that so weird when he said that in a press conference. Because it's like, well, aren't you the guy who can change it? You know, like, I don't know. It's like,
I stopped watching the press conferences on. It's like you when you were saying you were on the phone during games. Press conferences became an absolute chore.
Okay.
Because he just wasn't making sense with a lot of them. He was saying things, and anything on the field was contrary to what he was saying.
Yeah, that was the thing. That was the thing, wasn't it? He would talk a really good game about how, you know, he wants his team to do X, Y, and Z, and then it's like, okay, well, show us, and he didn't.
Yep.
But no, I want to just end on gratitude, because he gave us moments like the Spurs moment, the joy last season of celebrating the Premier League in front of the Kop at Anfield, lifting the trophy, having a great day. It was absolutely wonderful. So I just want to end with some gratitude. What would you be grateful for? Grateful to Arne Slot for?
He came in and picked up the reins from Jurgen, which was never going to be easy, and we won the league in his first season. You know, he carried on Jurgen's work and did a very good job in that season. And we played some really good football that season. But like, trying to kick on again isn't the easiest thing in the world. So we'll always be grateful. He's got his face on one of the big flags that is on the Kop, and it's not easy. There are a few really, really good managers that we've had and big names that are not on that flag because they didn't win the European Cup or the league title. Gerard Houllier being the one that possibly deserves to be honest, but can't be because he didn't win the league or the European Cup.
Absolutely. Here's the list then of Liverpool managers who've won the league, starting chronologically in 1900 and 1901 season. It was Tom Watson was the first one who did it.
With Sunderland, I do believe.
Okay, good knowledge. Then David Ashworth, 1921-22. Matt McQueen, 22-23.
Ex-player.
Excellent stuff. Then George Kay, 1946-47. 1963, 64, 65, 66, and 72, 73 was a certain Bill Shankly. Bob Paisley won it 6 times. It's too many times to go through all the years. But between 1975 and 1983, he won 6 times.
Joe Fagan in his first year. I can go from there. I don't need it. Joe Fagan in his first year. Kenny in his first year.
3 times.
Yeah,
club.
Yeah, but Kenny won the double in his first year.
Of course.
While still playing.
Wonderful. That goal at Stamford Bridge.
Oh, yeah. God.
But he also won it in 87, 88 and 89, 90. And then famously, we didn't win it for 30 years until Jurgen Klopp. And then Arne Slot. And his name will always be there. It didn't take very long to get through that list.
No.
How many managers have we had? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 managers who have won the league. And Arne Slot's one of them. So thank you, Arne. This has been Kop On Podcast. Thank you, listener. Thank you so much, Nigel. Thank you for joining me again. I do hope, whoever you are, wherever you are in this weird, wild and wonderful world, that you're looking forward to watching Liverpool again. That, like me, you're thinking, wow, where's this going to go? And there's a new story, a new chapter of the book, and it's open and it's a blank page. And will it be filled with magic? Let's hope so. But let's move forward. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Kop On. We'll see you soon.